from everywhere in this small world. We are happy to be with you on our fifth session. I thought it was the Texas one, but I was wrong. Okay, we have one more, which is tomorrow. I'm happy to introduce you three new scholars of Chevening who are currently studying their master's degree by the support of Chevening. And as you know, our style of the meetings like that, first 40 minutes, the scholars will mention their experience, and second 40 minutes will be yours. You can ask whatever comes to your mind and whatever you want to mention and talk with the scholars. So let's start. Our scholars will introduce themselves and start to talk for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will switch to the second and third scholar, and the process will be like that. I think Christina is the first one. Yeah, go ahead, Christina.
Yes. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay.
Hello, Christina.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. First, I want to say to DR, thank you very much for putting all of this together. I think what you've done is very commendable, and it's really, really good that we can help others in this manner. I want to say hi to Sherneil, who's also from the Caribbean. Happy to see you, because I know you as well. Hey, so about myself, my name is Christanae. I am from Turks and Caicos, which is a small country in the Caribbean, and currently I'm studying for an MSc in Accounting and Finance at the University of Strathclyde, which is in Scotland. And I have 5 tips that I want to share with you guys today. But before I share those tips, I want to say that the introduction is very, very key. So when you get into your interview, the first thing they're going to say is, tell us about yourself. So of course, you're going to say your name, what you're currently doing, and what you want to study as well. But in your introduction, I think you should also try to give a little bit of a fun fact about yourself. So if you own a dog, you can say, I own a pet. Or if you like to read, you can say, I love to read, or I love to paint. Just something so that the interviewers can see that aside from your professional life, you have a personality as well. And doing so will make them happy, and it will make you feel a bit more relaxed as well. Because naturally, the interview is a very nerve-wracking time. I know for me, when I went into my interview, I was very, very nervous to the point where I was almost shaking because it was my first time applying and I did not even expect to get to that stage. So I was extremely nervous. So if you go into your interview and set your introduction in a calm manner, the rest of the interview will follow like that as well. So I'll just share 5 tips for you guys today. And the first tip that I want to share is in your interview, you cannot be too humble. I know that it sounds very, very bad because humility is a good trait to have, but you have to remember that Chevening scholarships are very competitive. And the interview stage is the time for you to really, really sell yourself and show the panel why, out of all the candidates that have been shortlisted, you deserve the scholarship. So you need to really, really focus and harpen on yourself, your accomplishments, and your achievements. You need to really, really show the panel why you are the ideal candidate for achieving. And to do that, unfortunately, it means you have to leave your humility behind you in the interview. Okay? And the second tip that I want to share is ensure that you listen very carefully to the question that is given to you. So because you've done your preparations and you've done your mock interviews, of course, you'll have some questions that you expect them to ask. So for example, you will expect them to ask you to give an example of your leadership skills and of a time that you used your leadership skills to your advantage. But suppose they ask you, what is a good leader? Or suppose they ask you for an example of someone that you think is a good leader. Those are all obviously 3 different questions. So you have to ensure that you listen carefully to what they are saying so that you answer what they have actually asked you and not what you wanted them to ask you. And in order to do that, you need to ensure that you don't just rush to answer the question. Just take your time, listen to what they're saying. And if you need, you can say, can you kindly repeat yourself? And they'll be happy to do that. And as they're repeating, you can go through the question in your head and start to formulate your answers. Yes, you only have a limited time because they have other candidates to interview as well, but you absolutely don't need to rush. Simply take your time, break the question down in your head, and then formulate an appropriate response to the question. Okay. And now also in the interview, it's typical for them to ask you questions about your course and why you want to study your specific course, right? And in answering that question, one thing that you can mention is, for example, if you know of a key academic who is teaching a module in that course, you can say, well, I know of Professor X, Y, and Z, who is highly regarded in my field, and I think it would be very beneficial for me to learn from that person. So that's an answer that you can give. Or you can say that a distinguished alumni, for example, graduated from this program at this university. So that's one of the reasons why I want to study this course, because it shows not only, number one, that you did your research on the course, but number two, that you did extensive research when you were applying to your courses to find out which one was the best for you. So that's one tip that I would give as well. And then the fourth tip that I want to give is when they ask you about your career plans, of course, you need to mention how these are going to benefit you as an individual. But even beyond that, you need to mention how those plans are going to benefit your country as large. Because Chevening is a global scholarship, it's to develop global leaders. And of course, they want you to develop for your own personal benefit and so that you can form into the leader that they should see that you have the potential to be. But beyond that, they want to see how you'll benefit not only yourself, but also your country. Because Chevening is run by the FCDO, as you guys know, and the FCDO is a UK government body. And the UK government, of course, wants to ensure that they maintain strong relations with other countries within the Commonwealth. So you need to show that your program and your course of study will not only benefit you individually, but it will also benefit your country at large. I just get some water here, guys. Okay, sorry. And the next tip that I want to share is be honest, be authentic, and be yourself. The fact that you were shortlisted is very, very good and commendable. And I clap to all you guys that were shortlisted this year. And because you were shortlisted, it means that Chevening saw something in you that they think is good, and they believe that you have the potential to be a Chevening scholar. What you have to remember is that everybody that was shortlisted deserves the chance to get the scholarship. Not everybody will get it, but everybody that was shortlisted does deserve the chance. So when you go into your interview, be authentic and be yourself and show Chevening why the real and true you deserves the scholarship. Show them your leadership skills and abilities, show them that you can sell yourself, and beyond all of that, show them why they should choose you as opposed to everybody else that was shortlisted. Okay, and even though everybody that was shortlisted does deserve the chance, like I said, not everybody will get it, which is, sort of the sad thing about Chevening. So if you do go into the interview and you think it doesn't go as well as you expected it to be, and you're not going to get the scholarship, don't have that mentality. Because after my interview, I did not think I was going to get that scholarship. And everybody that I have spoken to felt the same way. So all you need to do is go into it, give it your all, and do your absolute best, and the results will be in your favor. So I wish all of you guys good luck. I am here as well to support you guys in whatever way that I can, and I believe that you all will do well in your interview.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for your tips, and let's listen to Gulnara. Gulnara, if you're available.
Hello all, do you hear me well?
Hello, Gulnara.
Dear, thank you for inviting me and for this great opportunity that I personally didn't have while applying to the Chevening scholarship. I think this is really nice and great opportunity just to learn about the process, how it goes, not only about the interview, but in general, get some tips from different people that I think usually is very helpful. And I'm Gulnara. I'm from Kyrgyzstan. Some might not know about this country. This is a very small country in Central Asia. And I work for UNICEF. And this is, I mean, last year was the first time I applied for Chevening. And as you see, I have got the scholarship and I'm really happy. So considering that I really don't have much experience in applying for Chevening over the last years, and this is just the first time I applied, still I do have a lot of lessons learned that I would like to share with you. And by the way, I'm doing MA on conflict resolution and peace studies in Lancaster. So if anyone is interested in peace and conflict resolution, I will be really glad to connect separately and talk to you maybe in details. So coming back to the suggestions or recommendations, I would just give generic ones, I would say. First of all, it's time to shine because it's your time to share your experience, your difficulties, your achievements, and of course the lessons learned throughout your career path. And the second one, I would say, be yourself and don't panic. You are the only one who owns the information, and you only you are aware of the information that you are going to give to the panel members. Demonstrate to the panel members your unique character, dreams, goals. Share your life experience, why certain things that you have indicated in your essay really matters to you, because it's very important to connect what you have written in your essays. What do you feel and how do you see your future? The third one would be maybe be sharp and structured in your answers. Make sure that your answers give really clear picture of who are you, where are you from, why exactly you should be part of this Chevening program, and how the Chevening program can get something from you. It can be either your experience, your knowledge that you're going to share with your friends, anything that you can give to the Chevening during the process, I mean your study and after. Fourth one, please avoid generalizing your answers. Usually when you tell your experience, of course we work in the team, we work in the organization, we usually say, oh, we did this and my organization is doing that, and we have been distributing like financial aid or humanitarian aid, etc. But Chevening is really interested, I mean the panel is really interested in knowing what was your exact role in this process. They might already know about your organization already, about the work you have done in the past, but they would be really interested in learning what was exactly your role, your lessons learned, difficulties, problems, and how do you see the solution, and then how do you see your future within that topic you are mentioning in your speech. And the fifth one, I would say, be positive, be honest, and open. You can joke if it is relevant to the context. You can, of course, say that you are not sure, you don't know, if you feel that this is the best answer at that moment. I mean, not knowing something is not wrong. Instead of giving some wrong information, you better say, I don't know, or I'm not sure, but I think. So I think it's really important to be honest to yourself first of all, and to the team members, to the panel members as well. And the last just one, I would be strongly recommending to you just to have a look at the competency-based interview framework, which is exactly what I think the Chevening panel is using. This is related to your mainly skills and competencies, and they require you to give clear examples, not general answers like, oh, I think this should be done this way, but to give your answer through the clear and one example that you have gone through. So I think competency-based interview framework would be helpful, just for your information. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much, Gulnara. Let's go to Sherneil, our third speaker. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone. I know we're from different areas. I'm Sherneil Charlery from St. Lucia, the Caribbean, like Christanae mentioned. And thank you for having us here. I think this is going to be very helpful because in my time we didn't have this opportunity. So I hope the tips are used and they help you in your interview. So I'm currently pursuing an MSc in Sport and Exercise Biomechanics at Leeds Beckett University. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically the physics of sports. So it's it's in the STEM field. And well, this time around was my second time applying, so I may have a little more experience on how the interview goes. My first interview, there were a few simple questions that threw me off. Like they were going to ask you stuff like, what is leadership or what is networking? And if you over prepare, you're coming thinking they're going to ask you some very complicated or difficult questions. And they don't just want to know what you think leadership is. So you don't just give them a definition of leadership, they want to know more. So I guess that makes you stand out. And my tips, I have 5 tips. I would say examples, examples, examples. Remember your examples. They are very important. So tell the panel how you are a leader, how you network, how will you use your degree to further your career. Why did you choose your career? Why did you choose the UK? How do you think when you return home that you can use your degree to make a positive impact? So always remember examples. When they ask you anything, when they ask you about leadership, like Christanae mentioned, if they ask you who is a good leader, you can't just mention that, okay, this person is a good leader, but what makes them a good leader? How do you relate to them? So examples are very important. I think they strengthen your answers because they see, yes, you did your research. Yes, you know what your course is about, and that is important. Next, don't be humble. Lay it all out. It applies to your field or your area, so they're interested. So they want to know what you've done. That is not the time for you to hold back and say, okay, maybe I shouldn't tell them this. Whatever you have achieved, that is the time to say it. Because your essays were only 500 words. So you're basically coming to advertise yourself. You're telling the panel, this is who I am, this is what I've accomplished, and I think I deserve this scholarship. So don't be humble, just lay it out. And next, don't rush. Ensure you fully understand the question before you answer it. Like Christanae mentioned, sometimes you may think you understood what the question is saying, but you did not. You can always ask them to repeat. They'll be more than happy. Reread your essays. The panel does have a copy of your essays because before you are selected for the interview, you are selected by your high commission. So, and you are interviewed by your high commission. So they know what you wrote in your essays. You'd be surprised. Because when I did meet my high commissioner, although we're in the Caribbean and our main high commissioner is based in Barbados, the resident high commissioner just started telling me things about my essays. And I was like, okay, so I guess everybody does read your essay and they know what your accomplishments are. So do not lie. They know, they do their research. And ensure that your answers are linked to your essays. So they know you wrote it yourself. It's very easy to know or find out if somebody did not write their own essays because you'd give off some answers that are so far off. It would raise some alarms. And although you can use the examples from your essays, they often want more. So what else have you done that you did not include or could not include in your 500 words? What have you done since you submitted your application? That's important, because in my interview last year, for one of my questions, they specifically said, what more did you do other than what's in the essay? Because I spoke about, for leadership, I spoke about my organization because I have my own nonprofit organization. It was in my essays, and they're like, yes, we know the work that you're doing with the organization. So what more are you doing outside of that? So it's always good to have a backup other than what's in your essay, because they will ask you, what more did you do? And I don't think 500 words is usually enough to say everything that you do or have done. We usually just place the most important things in the 500 words. And next, what will you bring to the Chevening community that someone else hasn't? How will you use the Chevening network? Why is studying in the UK important? These are just questions you need to think about because they may ask you. Because the scholarship is very competitive. I mean, it's for scholars from across the globe, and everybody's a leader. Everyone has networking skills. Everyone has a career plan. But what makes you stand out? What makes you the ideal candidate? Just think about that. And well, in relation to that, one thing that I would say that did not help me is watching some YouTube videos. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but um, sometimes watching these things do make you second guess yourself. So I would say just have faith in your abilities and be confident in who you are, because somebody else's achievements does not make your achievements any less. Not because you watch some YouTube videos and the scholars while preparing, they said that they did so many great things that you would think, oh, what I did is so minor. Like, how can I get the scholarship? I know some people may think that I did think that at a point, so I stopped watching YouTube videos and tried to focus on my answers and strengthening my answers. So just focus on you, focus on what you bring to the table, and focus on how you stand out. Yes, these are my 5 tips. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherneil. Thank you, Gulnara. Thank you, Christina. Before I give the friends chance to raise their hands for the questions, I personally have 2 questions for 2 scholars. I want to, if they are personal, it's okay to not answer. For Gulnara, you mentioned that you are working in UN, and I think when someone work in UN means something good. Why you applied for Chevening when you already had a good job, maybe an effective job on the people's life? And my question for Shirley, what's the main reason that you think that you have been refused at the first interview? How you renewed yourself for the interview? Go ahead, Gulnara.
Thank you, Diyar, for your question. Yes, actually, last 9 years I'm working for UNICEF and managing mainly peace building programs in the south of Kyrgyzstan. And actually, I have mentioned that in my essays as well, saying that despite the UN's intervention and a lot of other development agencies work in my country, we are still conflict-prone country. There are many issues in bordering, at cross-border with other countries. There are many interethnic issues within the country. So what I was doing was not enough for me. And openly saying, you know what I actually said to the ambassador himself, saying, you know, there are a lot of programs implemented, and I know that UK embassy is also contributing a lot of funds, you know, to solve the issues in my country, but I see that the conflicts are still continuing. I do not see an impact of those programs. And I said, don't you think, and I just asked, don't you think that there might be something wrong that we might be doing? Don't you think that we should improve something in our work, both UN and other international agencies that are putting a lot of funds at least since 2010. And he was laughing, joking, of course, and he said, okay, this might be. And I said that, saying that a lot of programs done, and I see that not there are many experts in my country that are really experts in peace building and conflict issues, especially when it comes to cross-border issues. And I said that my short term, that I return back to my country, use my knowledge in UNICEF and do better programs. And the longer term, I would like to become an conflict resolution or peace building specialist at international level. That would, of course, bring bigger impact, not only to the state that I am in now, but also maybe to the region, since there are many issues, of course, with Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, etc. So this was actually my answer to the ambassador, and we actually discussed a lot about what might be wrong, and I even suggested, saying that, you know, Chevening is selecting a lot of people from the capital city. I know there are mainly from the cities, but I do have really great network of girls that are living in the bordering areas, in rural areas. And I said that in the future, I will be able just to support them in applying to Chevening and other programs. And of course, they will come back to their villages at the border and do some good job. So this is my answer to you. First of all, I would like all these issues to be solved in my country, and I would like to make a contribution, and broader, make a greater contribution in the region and in Central Asia as a peace building expert. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulnara. Yeah, it's a satisfactory answer. Okay, Sherneil, you wanna contribute?
Sorry about that. I think my connection dropped.
Okay, it's good for now.
Well, to answer your question, I think the first time, like I said, I froze and panicked and I forgot my examples. That's what I did wrong. I went blank, completely blank. I forgot everything that I've ever done, everything that I wrote, everything that I prepared for. And the panel, it was very intimidating. Like, compared to, there was one person I would say that was very nice, but the second time around they were nicer. I would say, like, very nice and friendly. Well, that's
Okay.
to emphasize on, because I struggle if you don't give examples.
Yeah, of course. Okay, guys, you can raise your hands to ask whatever comes to your mind. We have more than 30 minutes, I think. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Lay, go ahead, and please direct your question for one of the scholars.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Hello. Go ahead, Brent.
All right. So I'm going to direct this question to Miss Charlery. I pronouncing your name. Right. So my question is, how did you answer difficult question? The question that you were not prepared, and then they just asked out of the blue, and how did you prepare for that? I mean, how did you reply to this kind of question? The one that you did not prepare for?
Well, I think, well, how I answered the first time, I just gave a very generic answer, very basic, without the examples, instead of giving examples. So giving generic answers are not the ideal way to go. Try to give examples and put them in as best as you can. based on
Thank
my
you. Thank you. Hamza, go ahead. You guys, you can raise your hand.
Thank you so much for the insights. My question, any one of you can answer it. First, a panelist talked about the first question, which is the most important, which is tell us about yourself. So, my question here is, can we also go dive a little deeper into our personal life or the probably a community barriers that we might have faced in our journey till this point. And now the thing is, if we go into that detail, then it will be a 2 minutes answer, so that will be a little long, I'm feeling. So your thoughts about that. And I also have a second question, so if someone has an experience similar to that, probably one of you can answer. The second question is, I want to change one of my university course choices. Uh, so the question is, do I talk about my initial choice, and then once that discussion is over, then they ask me to, if I need to change something, then I tell them just that yes, I need to change. I do. For me, it doesn't make too sense as a flow in the interview. So can I, will it be normal if I just tell them beforehand that I need to change something, and then I'll be talking about some other university choice, another course choice, rather than my initial one? So these are two questions. Thank you so much. If anyone could answer.
Okay, Christina, you wanna contribute the first question?
Sure. So as it relates to the introduction is meant to be very, very short. So I don't think you will have enough time to go into specific details about your community background and things like that. You should really stick to your name, what you're currently doing, why you applied for Chevening this year, and that should give you a perfect recipe for an introduction. Everything else will basically be asked to you during your interview. And then as it relates to your second question, I actually have experience with that because the university that I am at now is one that I changed in my interview, right? So during my interview, when I got to the section about my courses, they asked me first, before they asked me anything else, if I had any universities that I wanted to change, right? And then they said, if you do, you have to tell us why you want to change, right? And so at that time, my third choice was the University of Sheffield, right, which is in England. But after doing some further research, I realized that the University of Strathclyde is actually ranked second for accounting in the UK. And at the time, I had focused my search on universities in England. I hadn't looked at universities in Scotland or Wales, right? And so I applied to the University of Strathclyde in January, I think it was. And at the end of January, I got my acceptance letter, right? So in the interview, when they asked me if I wanted to change, I told them yes. I want to change my third university, which was Sheffield, to Strathclyde. And I explained to them because, number one, Strathclyde is actually ranked higher than Sheffield for accounting, which is what I want to study. And number two, Strathclyde is in Scotland. Glasgow, Scotland specifically has a very thriving music scene, and I love music, so that was very attractive to me. The city of Glasgow was also offered a lot. And I said to them as well, on top of all of that, I already been accepted to that university as well. And so they said they would accept those changes, and I had to send over my new offer letter. And within like 2 weeks, they changed the option in the portal for me as well. So that's what I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And as addition for the Christians, I also changed my second university. I changed with another university. Mine was from Scotland. It was Dundee. I changed to Lancaster from England. So I think it's a good idea if you want to change your first university, even if they don't ask you, you have to mention by yourself, because it's your first university, because it's the direction, it's the most priority of your process. Okay, but if it's second and third, and if second and third universities are related to the same course, which is the first one, I think it's okay to not mention. When they ask you, you can tell them that you want to change the university and you have your reasons. But if it's your first university, you may be rejected by the university, or you may not like the course, or whatever the reason. You have to manage the reasons in a good way, academic and maybe personal, maybe cultural, and so on, and direct them. When they ask you why UK, tell them the reasons why UK, and then mention the university that you want to study in, because sometimes I remember sometimes they don't ask you very specifically why you chose first university or why you chose that university. They will tell you why UK. Okay, when they say why UK, it means you have to talk about the culture, you have to talk about the quality of education, you have to talk about the university, you have to talk about the course, and all this in maximum 4 minutes. Okay, so yeah. Thank you. Who else do you have? You have, if I'm not wrong, Duzong. Who? Go ahead, friend.
Just to emphasize what Chrisante said with the tell me about yourself. For my interview last year, they did tell me, well, tell me about yourself in one sentence. So they won't give you a long time to say everything about you. So just try to put as well the most important things. And that is not marked or anything. That's like the icebreaker just to get you to calm down. So you can be as friendly as possible.
I think it was you, and Yun, be careful about your microphone. Go ahead, friend. Sorry.
Hi,
Do we
can
have
you hear
a
me?
question?
Yeah. Can I have the question now? Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So my question is how to talk about our weakness and failure without lowering ourselves.
Okay. Sherneil, you wanna?
I'll try to answer that. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
both of you.
Since she's
Both of you. Go ahead.
in touch.
Sorry about that. So I think that's actually a very good question. I think if you are asked about weaknesses, what you can say is that you understand that all people and nobody is perfect. Even the best of leaders have weaknesses sometimes. And you can say that acknowledging weaknesses actually makes you strong because it shows that you have the mental fortitude to admit when you are failing at something or when you're not doing as well. And that even strengthens you as a leader, I would say. So it shows that you acknowledge weakness, but at the same time, still maintain yourself as a leader in that respect. Yeah. Sherneil, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yes. Well, just to add that, well, we did discuss that question earlier today in our mock interview. And I think it's important if you talk about your weaknesses, that first you show them that, yes, you are aware of your weaknesses. And maybe this is the plans that you have to overcome it, or at least try to work on it. It's good to show that you have action or initiative, that, yes, I know that this is what I'm weak at, but this is what I'm doing to work towards it. Although you may not fully get over that weakness, but at least they see that you're trying or you're trying to work towards it. That would be my advice.
And if I may, I wanted to add that, of course,
Okay.
we do have a lot of weaknesses and strengths. Just select the one that will work for you. For instance, saying, I'm not process oriented, but more result oriented. And I might be like tired of processes. In that case, you show that you are not a weak person, but you still look for your results and you would like to achieve certain results. So you can select, because anyways you will not be able to cover all your weaknesses and describe everything. Just select the one that will work for you and then show not only weakness but also give a sign that it can be strengthened, and it's not a big deal. And just getting scholarship will, of course, support this weakness to become stronger, and then it will, of course, will be beneficial for you.
Yes, exactly. Or you may say, somehow introvert personality, I have to work to be more extrovert, because being extrovert is better for making networking with around yourself and with people around. So yeah, you don't need to mention very specific weakness which affects your academic or affects your professional preference. You may just mention something that you're working on, you're trying to develop it. Thank you.
Actually, how about the failure, a leadership failure example? I think that is more difficult one.
I think it is. Sorry, I didn't get your comment.
About the second part of the question is about the failure in leadership. Like when you
She's
fail as
talking
a
about
leader,
the failure.
an example is when you fail as a leader.
Okay. Failure as a leader. Okay. Actually, I mentioned something like that. Even in one of the mock interview, I mentioned again yesterday, the day before yesterday. I told them that everyone when they come to this room, I mean the interview room, they start with their leadership successful stories, but I'll be starting with my failure one, and they were surprising like that. Okay, and I told them that before 15 years ago, I failed at school because some educational reasons. The reasons were not about me; they were about the people around me, the educational policies. Okay, and my field was education. I'm studying education currently. So I told them that failure gave me a reason to start my leadership when I was younger, 15 years ago. Okay, and then I linked that failure with my successful story to the point that I was currently in. Okay, not even the point that I mentioned in the essay, because it was not enough. It was 10 months before the interview. I mentioned my experience in childhood, then I came to the essay example, and then I came to the current example of my life, and I showed them my passion for being a leader. So yeah, you may manage it like that. You may say that, okay, I failed. Okay, I failed by this example, but then that example helped me to be this who I'm currently am. So yeah, I think it's okay to mention if you can link it like that. But if you say, yeah, I failed and I gave up and everything is not the same, it's worse, yeah, it's not good in that way.
Yeah, and if I can just add that as well, when they ask you that question, give me an example of a time where you failed as a leader. The example, of course, is important, but what's even more important is for you to show them how you learned from that, what you learned from that, and how you use that to develop going forward. Because they asked me that same question in my interview. So I gave them one example from my professional life, and that example happened like 2 months before my interview. And I showed them how what I learned from that I was able to take to improve my work going forward. So yes, the example is important, but what you learned from it and how you improve on that moving forward is more important than the example. So yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay, we have Cletus. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, friend. Go ahead.
Good. So for me, it's just that I have applied to do MS in Scotland at the University of Strathclyde. So I have a condition offer. That's of course language and fees. Now, I was thinking, the other courses, the other universities, I got a rejection, the other one is pending. But then I wanted to change the one which was rejected. I want to replace it with another one where I was given an offer. Because my fear is that maybe in the event that this first choice, maybe the course, they change the course, they stop giving the course in those lines. So I wanted to find out how best can I like bring it to the panel so that I can just replace the third choice. So that I bring on that one becomes my third. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I think you have.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is you don't need to mention the fact that you got a rejection at all. You don't need to mention it, right? What you should do is try to compare the school that you got rejected from with the school that you have the offer from, and try to find reasons that you prefer the school that you have the offer from to the other school. And then you can say to the panel, well, after doing even more research, after I submitted my application, I found that this school has certain modules that I like. The area that this school is the area that I would like to go to. This school has certain societies that I would like to be involved in, things like that, so that you have justified reasons to change the university, not simply because you got an offer, right? Because having an offer is not enough to change university. You need to have at least 3 solid reasons why you want to change. So just do the research, try to compare the two, and come up with your reasons. If you need help with that, I can assist you because I did that myself for my interview. And you have my number, so just send me a message if you need help with that.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you. We have Evans. Evans, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. My question is to the same panelist again from the first panelist. Okay, I had my first course that I told while I was applying, I realized that the university had changed it. It was no longer offering it at the time of applying it. So I was wondering how I can tell them that the university is no longer offering that course. And again, I haven't even applied for another university, and my interview is very close. So when I'll be asked about my university choices, should I be talking about the second option, or what should I go for? That's all. Considering that the university changed to a different course, but a bit related to the one that I had applied originally, how can I proceed from there? Thank you.
Okay, so the course that they changed, you said you don't want to apply to that course, right? So you apply to a new university instead. I just want to make sure that I have your question correct.
Can I repeat, please?
Yeah, just repeat. Are you going to apply to the new course that they're offering, or you're not going to apply to that new course?
Okay, for the new course that they replaced the one that I was applying the Chevening with, I applied for it. But
okay,
that's not the exact one that I had applied to Chevening with. So my question was, how should I justify my university choices? Because here I have a university that I liked, but unfortunately they changed the name of the course and some details about the course, and of course I never got an opportunity to apply to them so that they can reject or admit me or something like that. So how can I proceed from there?
Okay, I think your situation is very unique. The fact that they changed the course and details before you even got to apply to it. But I think number one, the fact that they changed the details and stuff like that, that's not your fault. So once you explained to the panelists that you had selected this specific course when you submitted your application, but afterwards you realized that they changed some of the course details, the names of the modules and things like that. So it's not the exact same course, but you're still going for it. And the goals that you have can still be attained by you studying that course anyway. I think you can use those reasons when you explain it to the panel.
Yeah, and I think it is wise if only you choose about when you change one university, because it's somehow rare when 2 or 3 universities change the details. Because it happened with me, the Dundee, my problem with Dundee was I found out that I don't like their modules and they were not updating their website. They were mentioning that we're going to update the website and we're going to update the modules. And when they updated, they changed some modules. I was not interested in the modules, so I just mentioned the reason. But it not be wise if you say 2 courses have changed their details, because they may not be satisfied with your answers. So yeah, if you have a conditional offer which you haven't applied in the among 3 universities, you're safe. I think you only need 1 university at the end. So yeah. Okay, let me check what else we have.
Okay. So should I mention it? Excuse, please.
Okay, go ahead.
So should I mention it before they even ask me, or should I just go ahead and justify the university choices and maybe ignore that part and wait until they ask me or something? Or should I just...
Is it your first university?
Yeah, it is my first university.
I think if it's the first university, it's better you mention by yourself when it comes to the why UK question, okay? When they ask you why UK, because they may not ask you why this university. They may say why UK. When they say why UK, you're going to mention some points regarding the culture, regarding the quality of education, or regarding the area of your study in your country and in the UK, and then you're going to mention the university, and you'll directly tell them that you want to change your a university to that university for these reasons. That's all. Easy.
Okay, so should the question, what about if the question of university comes up before that one?
Yeah,
should I be justifying the second option or the first option?
I think so.
But let me just add. I think you're kind of over analyzing it, because like Chrysante said, you're in a very unique position. I don't see any reason for them not to accept your change, especially because it's not your fault that the school is not offering your course anymore. So the panelists will understand that that's not your fault and that's not what you signed up for. So that's not what you want to do. So you don't have to overthink it or overanalyze it. When you get to the interview, you just tell them that originally that was your plan, that was the school you wanted to go to, but the school changed your course and you no longer want to go to there, so you want to change it with another school. So don't overthink it too much so that you go into a panic when the time comes.
Yeah, it's an easy process, the easiest one.
Okay,
the easiest answer, I think, because you know why you want to change it. Okay,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, friend. Maskan, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Hello there. I had one question regarding the program choices. I just wanted to ask that does the UK or does the Chevening Award places us according to our priorities, according to our program choices? Like, would they send us to our first choice by their own, or will we even have the option to select from the 3 choices later on? For example, I already have an unconditional offer from my first university, but later on after July, I get the award and I decide that no, I like my third choice more. So can I go for that, or would Chevening would be deciding this according to themselves?
Okay, if you have good answer this question.
Hello, I couldn't
An
hear you.
answer?
Okay. Okay, Christina, you go ahead. I think Gulnara has a problem with her internet.
Okay, so if you are offered the scholarship, you will get that notification somewhere around the end of June. And then in July, around the first week of July, you'll get an email from your program officer. And she will ask you to confirm which one of the universities you wish to attend. And she will tell you have a deadline. I think for us, it was July 15th, around there.
Yeah.
By July 15th, we had to have an unconditional offer from one of the universities that was in our initial application. And it could be any one of the three. It doesn't matter which one it was. And they don't prioritize it by the order either. So it's totally up to you. So if you do the third one, it's fine. If you do the second one, it's fine. If you do the first one, it's totally fine. It's just up to you.
Exactly.
All right.
So
All right. I also have a follow-up question, if that's okay.
Yes.
I had my three choices, and one of them was King's College London. But then I figured out that the application fee was too high, and I wanted to switch to another good school, but in London. So for my course, digital marketing, there weren't many highly ranked universities. So I searched and I saw that there is another university, Queen Mary University of London, which is offering a similar course, but the course title is different. For example, the courses I have chosen, the first one is MSc Digital Marketing, second one was MSc Digital Marketing, and third was MSc Digital Marketing as well. But at Queen Mary, the title is only MSc Marketing. Digital comes under the modules. So is it okay to change that, or would that put the panel in doubt that her essays are revolving around digital and then she's changing her course choice to MSc Marketing only?
Well, I think because it's not MBA.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I was asking a follow-up question. Her question is the only reason you're changing, is it because of the fees or is it the module?
It's because it's almost in competition with King's College London. It's a university in London, but it doesn't have an application fee, and the modules are very similar to my MSc Digital Marketing course. But the only difference is that 2 or 3 of the courses are also related to marketing, specifically marketing strategy. But it does have digital marketing under it as well.
But is King's College is the school you want to go to, or do you want to go to Queen?
Yeah.
So you can go. I was just wondering if it was his choice or if it was based on funds that you did not want to go.
No, I'm actually confused between my first choice and the second choice, that was King's College, that I'm changing. So I'm confused between both of them, and I'll be deciding once I have the Chevening Award.
I see. Well, if it's about application fee, I don't know. It's up to you because you're gonna pay maybe £100 or something like that. But if it's about general fees, it doesn't matter, even if it's £1 million.
No. I'm just talking about the application fee. It's £120, and I don't want to risk £120 applying to King's College, and the deadline is too near anyway.
Yeah. I think it's fine. So why not? Or maybe you can just email them. If I don't know if you have already done this step or not, you may email them, explain your situation. They may just waive your application fees, because I know many friends from UCL, from maybe KCL and other universities, even Warwick. I myself, I remember I had Warwick as my first choice. They waived my application fees because in Iraq we didn't have a banking system, and so you may email them, you may explain your situation, it may work, or you may just change it. It's quite normal. Why not? You may mention that I can get the unconditional offer, but I'm more interested in the new university because of the reasons.
Yeah, and the course title doesn't make a difference as long as the modules are similar. For example, the course that
No,
have yeah,
no,
MSc
because it's
Digital
all
Marketing,
about
MSc
you.
Marketing.
It's
Mhm.
all about you. How you gonna get benefit from the course, and uh, how you gonna ace the whole course to manage your goals in your professional or academic life. So yeah, it's about you. You like Queen Mary. You like Edinburgh. Whatever. You have to have
Alright,
reasons. You have to have a clear vision for the course, and that's all.
alright. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me check. Mr. Lay again. Go ahead, friend. Mr. Lay, your hands are raised.
Hello. Did you call me because I lost my connection earlier?
Okay, yeah. Do you have any more questions?
All right. The question here is more like internal policy, and I don't know whether you have the insight into this or not. But the question is there any limitation of the number of successful scholars from the same field? You know, for example, I'm from education, and say there's one scholar from education field, and they got the scholarship. So, is there any, the numbers of scholar from the same field from one cohort from one year?
I see.
You got my question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, actually, I've checked the report. There's no formal information regarding this, but I've checked the report of 2020 and 2019. It's somehow prioritized, but it's not impossible to get it. So it's not about your country. In your country, the priority may be different. For instance, previous year, I remember that education is somehow prioritized in Iraq. We were about 27 applicants, and I think more than 10 of them were in education. But this year, I'm checking the area of shortlisted people. Most of them are in public health. Okay, so of course, because most of them are in public health, and most of the scholars will be doctors, and they will be in this area. So you may check this with your shortlisted friends in your country, but overall, as Chevening, yes, I think they may have scale for the areas, because they have their goals for each year, but it's not clear for us. So I think as much as you can show your abilities, show your skills, show the qualities of your candidation, I think you're fine. It doesn't matter whether your area is prioritized or not, because they have already shortlisted you. So it means you have chance to get it.
Yes,
And if I
the
may,
reason
I think
Yeah.
it mainly depends on the priorities of the FCD or UK government in certain countries. For instance, actually, I've been linking and actually searching what are the priorities of the UK government in my country and what might be the priorities for upcoming, let's say, 5-10 years. It might depend on the country-specific priorities of the UK, not about the, let's say, global priorities, because they will link you with their programs. Since you need to come back for 2 years and work for your country, so they still do some plans with the number of Cheveners, who is there, and what is the human resources available in the country. So you might want to have a look at the priorities of the UK in your country.
I think education is one of the priority as well. But the thing is, Cambodia is such a small country with only 17 million people, and the scholarship program only offer around 15 scholarship. a year. So there's a rumor that one fear, one person's only. That's why I'm asking you guys here.
Well, like I would say a lot of it is kind of speculation and rumors because I did ask the High Commissioner that question if there's a limit on how many persons are selected, but they always say that there isn't. You just need to shine in your interview and convince them that you deserve it. Because even coming from my area, sports was not seen as a priority area. You don't see people get Chevening scholarships for sports, especially my field. My field is kind of new. Usually you see people for political science or journalism, but not sports. So once you can convince them that your area is a priority, I think you can change their mind, even though they have this idea on who they want to accept. If you in your interview you show them that yes, I think my area is important, and when I get this master's, this is what I can contribute to the network and to my country. So that should be fine.
Yeah, and I think it's you to show that this course will help your community. No one else can show that. Even they may not like the course, but when they see your passion, when they see how eager you are to change something, to make a difference in your community, so yeah, you're in. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. So there is only one limitation, the number of scholars per country, and you should aim to be within that number. That's it. Don't care about the area, topic, whether it's priority or not. Just take your time and try to shine. That's it.
Exactly. So I think all questions have been answered. Yeah, we're clear. Thank you guys for your time, and I'm really glad that you accept our invitation for the global mentorship project. Christine and Gulnara and Sherneil. Hopefully we meet by 2 or 3 weeks in London. So we hope that our audience also have some plans for next year. They may meet by March in the Global Chevening Summit, not Global Chevening Mentorship. So yeah, thank you guys again. It was, I think it was a productive meeting today. The focus was on the universities and choices. Yeah, and thank you guys, everyone. If you're okay with opening your cameras, we may screenshot uh, the screen later as a memory. Okay, we wait for a second. Perfect. Okay. Okay, have a good day. We have tomorrow. Tomorrow is our last day of the mentorship. And so bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, and
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming. All the best in your interviews.
Good luck on your interviews, guys. Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your help and support, dear.
You're welcome.
Thank you, dear. God bless you. From Kenya.
God bless you from UK. Bye, guys. Bye, Harun. Bye, Ivan. Bye, Khalid. Bye, Cletus. Adi Salam, Muhammad. Yeah, Anu, Ralph, Nassan, Ferdin from Bangladesh.
Thank you, dear. You're very supportive. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Really appreciate
Thank you.
all the
Best of
support.
luck, guys.